Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's English listening practice video, we are going to talk about Isaac Newton, one of the most important figures in human history, and he was born in England. So let's listen to this story in English about his birth and childhood. I will tell you some interesting facts about him as well. Let me remind you that if you want to become fluent in English faster, you need to practice your listening skills constantly. And these videos are perfect for your practice. You can also improve your vocabulary, learn about world history, and much more. So don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any new videos. And if you enjoy my content, please like it and comment below. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's start. There was once a famous Englishman called Isaac Newton. He is considered one of the greatest scientists who ever lived. When he died in 1727, people said he was the father of modern science. That was because he discovered many scientific laws that helped people understand how nature works. He explained why objects fall to the ground when you drop them. He explained how the planets move around the sun. He also explained how light and color work. But his discoveries didn't end there. He did research in many areas of science. Newton was a genius, but he was also very strange. For example, he liked to walk barefoot everywhere, even in winter, and he never married. One day, a scientist asked him, "Why do you walk barefoot? It's cold outside. Don't you feel cold?" Newton looked at him and said, "I don't feel anything." The scientist was surprised. He thought Newton was crazy. It all started when he was a young boy. In 1643, he was born in a village called Woolsthorpe. At that time, England was a small country without many scientific traditions. Most people didn't know much about science or mathematics. They believed everything the church told them. The church was powerful and rich. It owned most of the land and controlled the government. Most people worked in agriculture, and they were poor. Newton's parents were poor farmers. His mother worked long hours in the fields. She often left Newton alone for days. When he was 2 years old, his father died. Soon after, his mother remarried. Newton went to live with his grandmother. He spent most of his childhood playing outside. Even though he grew up in a poor family, Newton was always curious about the world around him. He liked to ask questions about everything he saw. When he was 3 years old, he asked his mother, "Why does milk turn sour?" No one could answer his questions. Even adults couldn't answer all of them. This made Newton unhappy. He wanted to find answers himself. He didn't want to spend his life as a poor farmer. He wanted to be a scientist. But he didn't know how to become a scientist. There were no schools where he could learn science. The only way to become a scientist was to go to university. But universities were expensive. Newton had no money. So he did something incredible. He studied by himself. He read all the books he could find in the local library. When he was 15, he went to study at Cambridge University. Newton was a brilliant student. He graduated from university and became a teacher. He was famous throughout England. People came to Cambridge just to see him. Some people thought he was a genius. Others thought he was crazy. He just wanted to discover new things. He spent most of his time alone in his room. He didn't have many friends. He didn't like parties or sports. He just liked to think. Sometimes he walked in a field for hours. He loved nature and he liked to observe plants and animals. These walks inspired him to make many scientific discoveries. After graduating from university, Newton became the director of the Royal Mint. He used his salary to buy equipment for his laboratory. He built one of the first observatories in England. With its help, he discovered that the moon was not a god. The church was angry with him. They said he was a heretic, someone who goes against the church. If he didn't stop his research, they would put him in prison. Newton had to hide. He escaped to a village called Stourbridge. There, he began his most famous work. He developed his 3 great laws of motion. These laws explained how objects move. They are still taught in physics classes around the world. But Newton didn't stop there. He also developed calculus. Calculus is a complicated branch of mathematics. It helps scientists calculate many things related to movement, such as speed, velocity, and acceleration. Before Newton, scientists couldn't calculate these things precisely. They didn't know how to measure them. But with the help of calculus, they could now do all these calculations. Newton published his work, but other scientists criticized him. They said he was wrong. Again, Newton had to escape. He went back to Cambridge. There, he finished his most important work, optics. It explained how light and color work. He also discovered gravity. According to Newton, every object in the universe attracts every other object. The force of gravity depends on the mass of the objects and the distance between them. Without gravity, the Earth would not exist. All the planets would fly away into space. Newton's discoveries changed the world. They helped people invent new machines and technologies. He is considered the father of modern science. But many people forgot his name. They don't remember that it was Newton who discovered gravity. They don't remember that it was Newton who developed calculus. But if you look up in the sky and see the moon, you can remember that it was Newton who showed us that the moon is not a god. What can we learn from the story of Isaac Newton? First of all, we can learn that it doesn't matter where you grow up or what your parents do. You can achieve great things in life. Secondly, we can learn that hard work pays off. Newton worked very hard to make his discoveries. He didn't have time for fun or pleasure. He just worked and thought. And finally, we can learn that it's important to question everything. Newton was curious about the world around him. He didn't believe everything he was told. And that's how he made his discoveries. Now, let's check your understanding. Answer the following questions. What was Newton's job at the Royal Mint? Where did Newton go when he was 15? What was Newton's mother's name? What was the name of the village where Newton spent some time after leaving Cambridge University? What is the name of Newton's book about light and color? What is the name of Newton's branch of mathematics? How many great laws of motion did Newton develop? What did Newton discover about the moon? Do you think Newton was a genius? Why or why not did you like the story of Isaac Newton? Why or why not? Would you like to read more stories about great scientists? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.